So here's the deal. 28M, never thought I'd be the guy posting on Reddit about a relationship gone nuclear, but here we are. This whole mess feels like something out of a bad soap opera, and the fact that I lived through it still makes my head spin. I need to get it off my chest, and, honestly, I want to know if I crossed the line in how I handled things. For some background, I met my ex, let's call her Lena, 27F, about 3 years ago. At first, it was like something straight out of a rom-com. We met through mutual friends at a birthday party, ended up talking all night, and by the time the sun came up, I felt like I'd known her forever. She was smart, funny, gorgeous, and had this kind of magnetic personality that made people gravitate toward her. I'll admit, I fell hard and fast. The first year together was amazing. We traveled, we went to concerts, we spent lazy weekends watching trashy reality TV, and I honestly thought I'd found the one. My friends liked her, my family thought she was sweet, and for a while, everything was great. But looking back, I can see the cracks that started showing early on. Lena was intense. At first, I chalked it up to passion. She wanted to be around me all the time, texted constantly, got upset if I didn't reply right away. If I said I was going out with the guys, she'd pout and ask why she wasn't invited. If I mentioned a female coworker, she'd make some snide comment like, "Oh, so she's the reason you're working late?" At first, it felt kind of flattering. Like, okay, she really cares about me. She doesn't want to lose me. But over time, it started feeling less like love and more like surveillance. One example, about 6 months into our relationship, I got a late-night call from a female coworker about a project deadline. Totally professional. The next day, Lena scrolled through my phone while I was in the shower. Yes, she admitted this later, and saw the missed call. She flipped out. I mean, full-on tears, accusations, saying I was already betraying her. I spent hours calming her down, reassuring her that it was just work, nothing more. She eventually apologized, but the seed was planted. Things like that happen more than once. If I didn't pick up her call right away, she assumed I was with someone else. If I liked a photo on Instagram, she'd demand to know why. I remember once complimenting a waitress on her tattoo. Literally, just small talk. And Lena gave me the silent treatment for the rest of the night. Still, despite all that, I stayed. Part of me thought, well, everyone has insecurities. And to be fair, Lena could be incredibly loving when things were good. She'd cook for me, surprise me with little gifts, write me cute notes. We had great chemistry, and I honestly believed we were building something real. Fast forward about 1.5 years in, and we started having more serious talks about the future. Kids, marriage, where we'd live. I was nervous but also excited. I'd saved up for a ring and was even considering proposing that summer. My family adored her, and even though my friends sometimes raised eyebrows at her possessiveness, they kept their opinions mostly to themselves because they saw how into her I was. But then, things started to shift. Lena's jealousy went from background noise to the main soundtrack of our relationship. She accidentally showed up at my workplace once, saying she was nearby, but I later found out she drove 45 minutes out of her way. She insisted on having all my passwords for transparency. She'd quiz me about names in my phone contacts, like my cousin Sarah, who she thought was a secret girlfriend. It was exhausting. And the worst part was, if I pushed back, she'd flip it on me. She'd cry and say, "Why are you being so defensive? If you're innocent, why are you hiding things?" And because I didn't want to be the asshole boyfriend, I'd back down, reassure her, and try to smooth things over. The real turning point, though, came one night when I got stuck late at work. I texted her that I'd be home around 10. My boss had piled a last-minute task on me, and I was exhausted. When I walked in the door, Lena was sitting on the couch, stone-faced, phone in hand. She immediately asked who I was really with. When I told her I was literally at the office, she demanded proof. Like, what kind of proof do you even provide? I showed her some work emails with timestamps, but she still didn't buy it. She said, emails can be faked. I was too tired to argue, so I just went to bed. She followed me in, stood over me, and said, "If you ever cheat on me, I swear to God I'll ruin you." I laughed it off at the time, thinking she was being dramatic. But that line stuck with me. I'll ruin you. And I didn't realize then just how literal she meant it. Update 1. The accusation and the pregnancy bomb. Things really blew up about 6 months after that "I'll ruin you" comment. By then, the jealousy and paranoia had become part of our routine. I walked on eggshells constantly, always calculating what I said, who I talked to, even how long I stayed at the grocery store. It was draining, but I still loved her. Or at least, I loved the version of her I thought was still in there. The breaking point came one Friday night. I'd gone out for drinks with two coworkers, one male, one female. After we finished a brutal project, I told Lena in advance, even sent her a photo of us at the bar so she wouldn't think I was lying. I thought I was covering my bases. I thought wrong. When I came home, Lena was already furious. She'd apparently called me 3 times while my phone was on the table, and I didn't hear it over the noise. To her, that was proof. I was ignoring her because I was cheating. She launched into a full-on screaming match the moment I walked in. She accused me of sneaking around. Said I'd been checked out of the relationship for months. Claimed my female coworker was obviously more than a friend. I kept my cool at first, trying to reason with her, but the more I denied it, the more unhinged she became. Finally, in the middle of her tirade, she blurted out, "Well, maybe it doesn't even matter because I'm pregnant." I swear, I felt the room spin. My heart stopped. For a second, I didn't even know how to respond. "Wait, what?" I asked. She crossed her arms, glaring at me like I'd just confessed to murder. "I'm pregnant, and you're out here humiliating me, running around with other women. I can't believe you'd do this to me, to our baby." I just froze. On one hand, a part of me felt this rush of fear and, weirdly, excitement. I mean, I've always wanted to be a dad someday. But on the other hand, the timing, the way she dropped it in the middle of an argument, it all felt wrong. I asked if she had a test. She said no, but she knew. I asked how far along she thought she was. She dodged the question. I offered to go get a test right then and there, but she refused, saying it was too early. Still, she used that supposed pregnancy like a weapon. Within days, she told her family and our mutual friends. Suddenly, I was public enemy number 1. Her version of events. I was a cheating asshole. She was the poor betrayed girlfriend, carrying my child while I was out partying with other women. She was bravely choosing to keep the baby despite how I treated her. And the worst part? People believed her. I started getting cold shoulders from mutual friends. One even texted me, "Man, I thought you were better than this. She deserves so much more." My own sister asked me what the hell I was doing, because Lena had called her crying, saying I'd abandoned her during her pregnancy. I felt like I was losing my mind. Everywhere I turned, the narrative was already set. I was the villain, she was the victim. The only people who really stuck by me were my best friend, let's call him Tom, and my mom. Tom kept saying something didn't add up. My mom told me not to let emotions cloud my judgment, and that if Lena really was pregnant, there'd be medical proof sooner or later. Meanwhile, Lena doubled down. She'd text me photos of baby clothes, talk about names, even made a Pinterest board for a nursery. And every time I pushed back, asked for concrete proof, she'd burst into tears and accuse me of not caring about our child. I can't describe how trapped I felt. On one side, I didn't believe her, but on the other, what if I was wrong? What if she was pregnant and I really was about to be a dad? It was like living in limbo, guilty until proven innocent, with no way to clear my name. Update 2. Living under the shadow of her pregnancy. After Lena dropped the pregnancy bomb, everything in my life shifted. It was like I'd stepped into some alternate reality where facts didn't matter and perception was everything. She weaponized that claim in ways I didn't even think were possible. First, she played the sympathy card with absolute mastery. Within a week, she'd told nearly everyone we knew. Her parents, our mutual friends, even some of my coworkers who followed her on social media. She made these vague but emotionally loaded posts like, "Raising a child alone is scary, but I'll do whatever it takes to hearts #singlemomlife. Nothing hurts worse than being betrayed while carrying someone's child." I didn't even have social media at the time, so I only heard about these posts when friends started texting me, asking what the hell was going on. Imagine waking up to 5 missed calls from your cousin, all starting with, "Dude, are you seriously ditching her while she's pregnant?" The narrative was out there, and once people latch onto a story, good luck changing their minds. Meanwhile, Lena tightened her grip on me. She'd show up unannounced at my apartment just to talk about the baby. If I said I was busy, she'd say, "Wow, even your unborn child isn't a priority to you." If I tried to spend time with friends, she'd guilt-trip me. "You should be here learning how to be a dad, not out drinking." And it worked. Out of fear of being labeled a deadbeat before the baby was even real, I complied. I went to her place when she asked. I listened to her endless monologues about strollers, diapers, prenatal vitamins, everything. But every time I asked for concrete proof, like a doctor's appointment I could attend with her, she'd find a reason to dodge. It's too early. The doctor won't see me yet. I don't want to jinx it by telling too many people. Why don't you just trust me? That last one cut deep, because wasn't that the whole point? She didn't trust me with anything, but I was supposed to blindly believe her? The stress ate me alive. I lost weight. I couldn't focus at work. I'd lie awake at night thinking, what if she really is pregnant? What if this is my life now? And then another voice in my head would say, but what if she's lying? My family situation didn't help either. My sister completely sided with Lena. She'd call me selfish, accuse me of abandoning my responsibilities. My dad stayed quiet, which hurt almost more, like he didn't want to say out loud how disappointed he was. Only my mom seemed to believe me, but even she urged me to be careful and not antagonize Lena until the truth came out. The lowest point came when Lena staged this big scene in front of friends. We were at a mutual friend's barbecue, and she pulled me aside, loud enough for others to overhear, and started scolding me about how I hadn't been supportive during her first trimester. People looked at me like I was a monster. One girl even muttered, "Wow, I didn't think he'd be that kind of guy." I felt humiliated, trapped, powerless. To make matters worse, Lena leaned into her role as the martyr. She'd sigh dramatically, put her hand on her stomach, and whisper things like, "Don't worry, little one, Mommy will always be here for you," whenever I didn't say what she wanted. She knew exactly how to make me look like the bad guy in every scenario. The isolation was brutal. My friend Tom was my only lifeline. He kept telling me something was off, that if she really was pregnant, she wouldn't be dodging proof. He even suggested she might be cheating herself and using this whole pregnancy thing to cover it up. At first, I dismissed it. Despite everything, I couldn't imagine her with someone else. She was obsessed with me, wasn't she? But that seed of doubt grew. The inconsistencies piled up. Her timeline didn't add up. She claimed she was 5 weeks, one day, then 7 weeks, 3 days later. She refused to let me come to her apartment sometimes, saying she was too tired. But then she'd post selfies dressed up with friends. That's when I realized, if I didn't take control of the situation, I'd drown. I couldn't keep letting her dictate the story. I had to find out the truth for myself, no matter how ugly it was. And so I started digging. Update 3. Cracks in the story. Once I decided I couldn't just sit back and let Lena control the narrative, I started paying closer attention. If she was really pregnant, there would be evidence, doctor visits, test results, something. And if she was lying, the cracks would show eventually. The first red flag was her timeline. Like I mentioned earlier, it kept changing. 1 week she'd say she was barely 5 weeks, and then just a few days later, she'd be talking about being almost 2 months along. When I pointed it out, she snapped at me, saying I was gaslighting her and trying to make her doubt her own body. It was such a manipulative turn that I almost bought it, but deep down, I knew. Then there were her mysterious absences. Lena was always clingy. She wanted to know where I was 24/7. But suddenly, she started having these stretches of time where she was too tired or too emotional to see me. And yet, Tom showed me screenshots of her Instagram stories where she was out with friends, dressed to kill, drinking wine. When I confronted her about the drinking, she brushed it off. It was just a sip. Calm down. You wouldn't understand what cravings are like. Still, the biggest turning point came one night when I drove past a local bar on my way home from work. And there she was, outside, laughing with a guy I didn't recognize. They were standing close, too close. I froze at the red light, just staring. She wasn't acting like someone exhausted by early pregnancy. She was acting like someone on a date. I didn't confront her right then. Instead, I texted her, "Hey, how are you feeling? Still home resting?" She replied within 2 minutes. "Yeah, babe, just on the couch watching Netflix. Missing you, red heart." That was the moment something inside me cracked. She wasn't just manipulative. She was lying straight to my face. Over the next few weeks, I quietly started gathering evidence. I didn't want to be the crazy paranoid ex, so I needed something undeniable. I asked if I could go with her to her doctor appointments. She always had an excuse. Rescheduled, not feeling well. They won't let visitors right now. I checked with one of her close friends, let's call her Mia, casually asking how Lena was doing with the pregnancy. Mia gave me this weird look and said, "Oh, she hasn't really talked about it with me." That felt off. Lena overshared everything. Tom, being the legend he is, noticed the guy from the bar showing up more often in her tagged photos. Different events, same dude. I was still torn. A part of me desperately wanted to believe she was telling the truth, because the alternative, that I'd wasted years on someone who was this toxic, was soul-crushing. But another part of me knew I had to be ready for the worst. The final straw came when she accidentally left her phone on my couch after storming out of an argument. I didn't go snooping immediately. I hesitated, because I've never been that guy. But then her screen lit up with a text. "Last night was amazing. Can't wait to see you again." From the same guy I'd seen at the bar. My hands were shaking as I picked up the phone. I know, invading her privacy. But at that point, it felt like survival. I opened the thread, and sure enough, it was full of flirty messages, photos, plans to meet up. One message from her literally said, "He still thinks I'm pregnant, LMAO. You don't have to worry." I felt like the air had been knocked out of me. Everything, months of stress, humiliation, being painted as the villain, it all came crashing down in that moment. She wasn't pregnant. She never was. It was all a cover-up while she cheated on me. And the worst part? She had let everyone think I was the bad guy while she carried on with someone else behind my back. I knew right then, I couldn't just walk away quietly. I needed the truth to come out. Update 4, the confrontation. Once I saw those texts, I knew I couldn't keep this to myself. For months, she had painted me as the villain, cheater, deadbeat, liar, while she strutted around with some other guy and laughed about it behind my back. I wasn't going to let her rewrite my life story. I thought about quietly breaking up and walking away, but that felt like letting her win. She'd already poisoned my reputation with half my friends and even parts of my family. If I just disappeared, she'd spin that into more proof that I was guilty. So, I decided the truth had to come out publicly. The perfect opportunity came a couple weeks later at another mutual friends gathering. Lena was there, of course, glowing like she always did when she was the center of attention. She was talking with a group of people, hand on her stomach, milking the whole expectant mother abandoned by her cheating boyfriend narrative. I pulled Tom aside and whispered, "Tonight's the night." He gave me this look that was half concerned, half proud. When enough people were around, I walked up to Lena and said, as calmly as I could, "Hey, since you keep telling everyone you're pregnant, why don't we share the good news together? Do you want to show everyone the ultrasound?" The color drained from her face. She stammered, "It's too early for that." I pressed on. "Really? Because most people get one around 8 weeks. Which is, what? About where you claim you're at." People were starting to murmur. Lena tried to change the subject, but I wasn't done. I pulled out my phone, opened the screenshots I'd taken from her text with that guy, and said loud enough for everyone to hear. "Or maybe you'd rather explain why you texted him that you're not pregnant at all." Gasps. Silence. All eyes on her. She lunged for my phone, but I held it out of reach. "No. Everyone here deserves to see the truth, since you've been dragging my name through the mud for months." I scrolled, reading out loud. "He still thinks I'm pregnant, LMAO. You don't have to worry." The room went dead quiet. Then the whispers started. People pulled out their own phones. Some even asked me to send them the screenshots. Lena was shaking, tears welling up, but not the sympathetic kind. These were the tears of someone caught red-handed. She tried to spin it. It was a joke, taken out of context. But no one bought it. One of her own friends said, "Wait, so you're not pregnant?" And Lena snapped back, "It's complicated, you wouldn't understand." I looked her dead in the eyes and said, "It's not complicated. You lied. You cheated. And you used a fake pregnancy to cover it up while destroying my reputation. I'm done." Then I walked out. Tom followed me, clapping me on the back. My phone was blowing up the whole night. Some messages of apology from friends who realized they'd sided with her lies. Others just shocked disbelief. By the next morning, Lena's carefully crafted image had crumbled. Her social media went private. Friends unfollowed her. Word spread fast. And suddenly, she was the villain. And me? For the first time in months, I could breathe. But the relief was mixed with something heavier: grief, betrayal, exhaustion. I'd wasted so much time and energy trying to defend myself when the truth was right there, festering under the surface. Update 5, the fallout. The days after the confrontation felt surreal. For months, I had been the villain in Lena's story, the unfaithful boyfriend abandoning his pregnant girlfriend. Then, in the span of 10 minutes, the entire script flipped. The reactions were intense. My friends, the ones who had iced me out, started reaching back out almost immediately. I got texts like, "Dude, I'm so sorry. I feel like an idiot for believing her. Can we talk? I need to apologize. I should have known something was off. That was messed up." Part of me wanted to accept their apologies and move on, but another part of me was angry. Where were they when I was being crucified? When Lena was posting sob stories about me online, none of them questioned it. They just believed her and cut me off. It was hard not to feel betrayed all over again, even by people I considered close. My family. My mom cried when I told her the full story. Not because she was shocked, she said she'd suspected all along, but because she hated seeing how broken I looked. My dad, stoic guy, not very emotional, just said, "Well, son, at least now the trash took itself out." It was his way of saying he was proud I stood up for myself. My sister, though, that was complicated. She had been Lena's biggest defender, lecturing me constantly about being responsible and stepping up as a father. When the truth came out, she didn't call me for a week. Eventually, she texted, "I can't believe she lied like that. I'm sorry I doubted you." But the damage was done. Our relationship is still strained. Lena's friends and family. Oh man, this was chaos. A couple of her friends DM'd me apologizing, admitting they had started doubting her story but didn't want to get involved. Others went radio silent, probably embarrassed they'd been played. Her parents were a whole other story. Her mom actually called me, sobbing, saying she didn't raise her daughter to behave like this, and that she was ashamed. Her dad? He basically told me to stay away from their family, which was fine by me. The other guy? Yeah, I eventually found out who he was. Let's call him Mark. After the confrontation, he actually reached out to me through Tom. Apparently, Lena had told him I was some crazy, controlling ex who wouldn't let go, and that she had broken up with me months ago. When he saw the truth come out, he was pissed. Not at me, but at her. We met once, awkward as hell, but he seemed genuine. He said he had no idea she was stringing us both along. I believed him. Honestly, I almost felt bad for the guy. He looked as wrecked as I felt. Lena herself. She tried damage control at first. She texted me walls of messages. "You didn't have to humiliate me like that. We could have talked privately. I only lied because I was scared of losing you." Then came the blame shifting. "If you hadn't made me feel insecure, I wouldn't have done this. Everyone lies sometimes. You're acting holier than thou." When that didn't work, she switched to begging. "Can we please meet and talk? I miss you. I'm so sorry. I'll do anything." I ignored every message. For the first time, I realized I didn't owe her a damn thing. But despite finally being vindicated, I didn't feel victorious. Instead, I felt hollow, angry, drained. Because yes, the truth was out, but the months of damage couldn't be undone. The friendships strained. The sleepless nights. The constant second-guessing of myself. I thought about how easily people believed her lies, how quickly they turned on me, and it made me question, what if this happens again someday? What if I can't trust anyone again? Update 6, Reflection and AITA. It's been a few months since the whole truth came out, and I've had some time to process. Honestly, I'm still piecing myself back together. The betrayal wasn't just about Lena cheating. It was about how far she was willing to go to cover her tracks, even faking a pregnancy and destroying my reputation in the process. I've learned some hard lessons. 1. Red flags matter. Those little signs of jealousy, the constant accusations, the controlling behavior, they weren't cute quirks. They were warning sirens I ignored because I wanted to believe in the relationship. 2. Your reputation is fragile. It shocked me how quickly people believed Lena's story. One social media post, and suddenly I was the villain in everyone's eyes. It made me realize how little control we have over how we're perceived once someone decides to smear us. 3. Silence can be powerful, but sometimes the truth needs a spotlight. For months, I stayed quiet, thinking the truth would reveal itself eventually. It didn't. If I hadn't gathered proof and exposed her, I might still be stuck under her lies. 4. Healing takes longer than you expect. Even now, I struggle with trust. Whenever I start talking to someone new, I catch myself wondering, what if she pulls a Lena? It's exhausting, but I'm working on it in therapy. As for Lena, last I heard, She and Mark are done. Apparently, he dumped her after finding out just how deep the lies went. I don't know what she's doing now, and honestly, I don't care. I blocked her everywhere and told myself I'd never respond to her again, no matter what. Sometimes I wonder if I went too far with that public confrontation. Did I humiliate her unnecessarily? Could I have handled it privately? But then I remind myself, she didn't hesitate to humiliate me for months, turning me into a social pariah over something I didn't do. Maybe I didn't take the high road, but I finally stood up for myself. So Reddit, I have to ask, AITA for exposing my ex in front of everyone, instead of just breaking up quietly? TLDR, my ex accused me of cheating and claimed she was pregnant with my child. She used this lie to turn friends and family against me, making me look like a monster. After months of humiliation, I discovered she was actually cheating on me and faking the pregnancy to cover it up. I exposed her publicly with proof at a party, ruining her reputation the way she tried to ruin mine. Now I wonder if I went too far. AITA,